I'm starting to feel like I'm starting to know what an 8 is like. Oh, sorry, what an 8 is gonna feel like. But today was a different race, a lot more pushing.
Femke Bol has been racing the 800 meters for less than a year. She's already gone from 1 minute 59 to 1 minute 55, and in London, she pushed Olympic champion Keely Hodgkinson all the way to the line. Bol admits she is still learning the event. That is exactly why her rivals should be worried. Let's break down exactly what happened, because this is one of the boldest moves in modern track and field. For nearly 5 years, Femke Bol was the most dominant hurdler on the planet. She won back-to-back world titles in Budapest and Tokyo, picked up 2 Olympic bronze medals behind Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, and broke the world indoor 400-meter record 3 separate times. On the Diamond League circuit, she strung together an unbeaten run in the 400 hurdles that lasted 5 straight seasons, racking up trophies almost every summer. She was the European Athlete of the Year, an Olympic gold medalist in the mixed relay, and the kind of athlete broadcasters built entire highlight reels around. By the time she stepped off the track in Tokyo in September of 2025, having just defended her world title, Bol was widely considered the second greatest hurdler in the history of the sport, trailing only McLaughlin-Levrone herself. Then, 21 days later, she posted something on Instagram that changed the entire conversation around her career. Bol announced she was leaving the 400-meter hurdles behind to chase a completely different event, the 800 meters. In her post, she wrote that the hurdles had given her unforgettable memories and shaped her into the athlete she had become, but that she was driven by the need to push her own boundaries. Her coach, Laurent Muley, called it a bold new challenge, and together they set their sights on the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028, a full 3 years away. Keely Hodgkinson, the reigning Olympic champion in the 800 meters, and a close friend of Bol's since they were teenagers on the circuit together, responded to the post almost immediately, writing that she could not wait to share the start line with her. On paper, this looked like a massive gamble. Bol was walking away from an event she had already conquered, one where she had not lost in 5 years, to test herself against a field that included Hodgkinson, one of the most dominant middle-distance runners in the world. She was doing it with 0 senior experience over 2 laps, no idea how her speed would translate to a completely different type of race, and no guarantee any of it would actually work. Switching from the 400 hurdles to the 800 meters sounds simple enough on paper, but almost nobody at the elite level actually pulls it off. The 2 events demand completely different bodies. The hurdles reward pure speed and explosive power over a single hard lap. The 800 rewards pacing, tactical patience, and the ability to suffer through a brutal final 200 meters while boxed in by 5 other women fighting for the same piece of track. The last time a world-class 400-meter runner made a jump like this and actually succeeded was back in the early 1980s, when Czechoslovakia's Jarmila Kratochvílová ran 49.59 for the 400 indoors before moving up and setting the 800-meter world record the very next year, a mark that still stands today. That is the kind of company Bol was suddenly being compared to, and the pressure that came with it was enormous. By January, Bol made it clear this was not some short-term experiment she would quietly abandon. Speaking to NOS, she said there was a good chance she would never run the 400-meter hurdles again. She explained that running the event remained an option in theory, but that the real plan going forward was to build a genuinely competitive 800 meters. For a 2-time world champion, still just 25 years old, and clearly capable of winning several more hurdles titles if she wanted them, that admission stunned fans across the Netherlands and beyond. Walking away from a signature event at the height of your powers is rare in professional sport. Doing it voluntarily, with an entire Olympic cycle riding on an uncertain outcome, is rarer still. The first real test came on February 8th in Metz, France. Racing an 800 meters for the first time as a senior athlete, Bol won in 1 minute 59.07 seconds, a new Dutch indoor record that broke a mark set by Esther Goossens back in 2001. She became the first Dutch woman ever to break 2 minutes over the distance indoors, and the performance immediately qualified her for the World Indoor Championships. Speaking to reporters afterward, Bol was refreshingly honest about where she actually stood. "I'm not afraid to fail," she said. "I'm not living in a fairy tale. It's an illusion that I can immediately compete with the best in the 800 and win. That will take time, I just have to see if I get there." It was the kind of statement that broke from the usual script of unshakable athlete confidence, and fans responded to the honesty just as much as the result. But the momentum didn't last long. Bol picked up a foot tendon injury during a training camp shortly after Metz, forcing her to scrap the rest of her indoor season, including a planned 600-meter record attempt in Leuven. In March, in the middle of all this uncertainty, she married her longtime partner, Belgian pole vaulter Ben Broeders, and began competing under the name Femke Broeders-Bol. She returned to full training in South Africa and finally made her outdoor 800-meter debut on June 16th at the Ostrava Golden Spike in the Czech Republic. It did not go smoothly. Switzerland's Audrey Werro, one of the hottest middle-distance runners on the circuit, blew the field apart in 1 minute 54.45 seconds, nearly 3 seconds clear of Broeders-Bol, who crossed in 1 minute 57.13 for second place. Still, that time moved her to third on the Dutch all-time list. 5 days later, racing in front of a home crowd at the FBK Games in Hengelo, Broeders-Bol looked far more comfortable. She controlled the race from the final bend and won outright in 1 minute 57.41. It was her first outdoor 800-meter win. Then came Paris on June 28th. Broeders-Bol dropped her personal best all the way down to 1 minute 55.60. The biggest test yet came at the London Diamond League on July 18th. In front of a sold-out crowd at London Stadium, Broeders-Bol lined up against Keely Hodgkinson herself for the very first time over 800 meters. Hodgkinson held her off down the home straight, winning in 1 minute 56.21. But Broeders-Bol was right there, crossing in 1 minute 56.46 for second, closing what had once looked like a comfortable Hodgkinson advantage into a genuine race. After the race, Hodgkinson admitted the two of them still meet up for coffee whenever their training camps overlap, even though they now line up against each other as rivals. The Birmingham European Championships open on August 10th, and Broeders-Bol is expected to line up there against Hodgkinson, Georgia Hunter-Bell, and Werro in what could be the most competitive 800-meter final Europe has seen in years. Her coach Muley has already floated the idea out loud, saying that if all three reach the final, the tactics alone will be worth watching. For Broeders-Bol, a strong run in Birmingham would do more than add another medal to a collection. It would prove that the gamble she made back in October, the one that stunned an entire sport, was the right one all along. Whatever happens in Birmingham, Femke Broeders-Bol has already done something very few elite athletes ever attempt. She gave up an event she completely dominated, at the height of her powers, just to find out how good she could become at something new and unfamiliar.